Welcome to Conversations with the Masters. There is more opportunity now to transform the customer experience as customer service than any other time in history. We live in a technological world, but we live in a human world. It's all about relationships and experiences. So today's subject is creating amazing customer service experiences, and our master is Shep Hyken. He is amazing. He is a Hall of Fame speaker. He's the author of 8 books, New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestsellers, no doubt. He is the chief experience and amazement officer at his company at Shepherd Presentations, and he creates amazing customer experiences for his customers. But more importantly, he's been helping companies for decades elevate their customer experience and customer service to amazing levels. As a matter of fact, the word amazing and Shep Hyken go together. He's just finished his latest book launch, I'll Be Back. It is an amazing book. I want to talk about that with Shep and how you can, regardless of the size of your organization or whether you're an entrepreneur or just starting your company, how you can create and elevate amazing customer experiences. So let's bring Shep in.
Hey, it is great to be here, Dan. Thanks for this wonderful introduction.
Yeah, well, I'm extremely excited, not only because of your background and all the 8 books and your I'll Be Back book. By the way, I'll Be Back. You need to read that book. You need to get that book right now. Mark that down. It is amazing. And if you really look at every book that you have written about the creating amazing customer experiences, all 8 of them, they are an amazing suite of wisdom. So we want to tap into that wisdom. And I would like to start with something that you have done for 2022. And that is you have done a massive study of customer service and customer experience. And you have done a big survey. You've come up with some really great insights. And when we look at technology, and again, the human factor, it still is about people, but yet technology can help us. And you've got some amazing insights. Shep, let's start sharing with us about that study. And by the way, you can get that study. Shep, tell them how they can get that.
It's available to everyone at no charge. Just go to my website, hyken.com. You can either put /research after that, or just click on the research button at hyken.com. And this is a benchmark study for a number of the questions. So this is our 3rd year in a row. And specifically about technology and the human factor. What was really interesting is last year we asked, by the way, I don't have the stats. I have to turn to the right page to get to it. But essentially, we asked consumers, hey, do you mind using a digital technology to get your questions and, answers and complaints resolved? And 71%, I believe, said yes. But if you press them and say, which would you prefer to do? Use a digital solution or use the phone, very traditional. I was surprised last year. Well, I want to give you the exact number. So give me just a moment. And Dan, you may actually have that because I know we talked briefly about this.
Yeah, well, that while you're digging for it, let me just say that I would rather have digital service than poor service. And right. I would rather have service now than later. And if it's 2 a.m. and I want service, you know what? I want it. So I want 24/7. I want high quality. I want it now. I want to be able to understand it and not try to figure out, what did that say? It sounds like he's in Timbuktu. I'm not quite sure. And or they don't give me a good answer. They got to pass me to the next guy, pass me to the next guy, pass me to the next guy.
I hate when that happens.
It's now completely gone. And I hate this company. Wait, what did I say? I hate this company.
And the next time,
like them, I hate them. So talk to that, Jeff.
Yeah, and the next time you have a chance to do business with someone else and you have a choice, you're probably going to do it. So here are the exact stats. 71% of and we interviewed over 1,000 consumers across the U.S. It's a U.S. study, and everybody around the world. I know your numbers might be a little bit different, but look at the concept behind the numbers, not just the actual numbers. 71% said yes to using self-service tools, digital solutions, websites, frequently asked questions, video tutorials, whatever's out there. However, if you ask, when you have a problem or issue with a company or a brand, which solution do you prefer? And we gave them a choice of a digital self-service option or to use the phone. And last year, 41% said, I want to go digital, which I was surprised it was that low. I thought it would be higher based on all the companies that are investing millions and actually billions of dollars into digital technology. However, this year, I was even more surprised because the number was lower than 41%. Only 35% said they'd prefer digital first, and 65% said they'd rather use the traditional phone. Now, I will add that if you look at the age breakdown, and we also looked at Gen Z, millennials, Gen Xers, and baby boomers skew that phone result to the higher number. It's like 80 some odd percent of boomers versus 50 some odd percent of the Gen Z and millennials, who are the younger generation, are interested in the phone. So obviously the younger generations tend to go more technology focused, but I still think it's important to understand who your customer is. And once you do, again, by the way, there is a storm happening in St. Louis, Missouri, where I live. And I don't know if you can tell, but it is getting really dark in my office.
Now, well, you're coming through really good, and our connection is holding. So hopefully that storm won't cut us out of this. But let me also just say that the way technology is today is not how it will be tomorrow.
Correct.
Because it's advancing at what I've called beyond exponential levels. And when you're beyond exponential levels, you've just got to understand that it will get better and better and better. So I think what's going to happen is whether it's an intelligent chatbot or any other use of technology, it will still handle the lower level questions. And when you need help and you need something that you need, it's what I call the higher levels of the cognitive domain: analysis, problem solving, synthesis, something that humans do best.
How about empathy?
Empathy, exactly. AI is not good at empathy. Oh, I'm really sorry about that. I don't think so. I hope you get well soon. I don't really believe it. So what we're going to find is there's a need for humans, but not at the lowest levels of customer service. Tech can help with that. Would you agree with that?
100%, because, I mean, if you take a look at it, if all I want is to know what the balance of my bank account is, I should be able to log in, put my password in, get the information without having to call somebody, be put on hold, then do authentication, which oftentimes, especially in the financial services world, is sometimes pretty, there's 2 or 3 steps. So it takes time. Now, there are companies out there, and I remember probably 8-10 years ago attending a meeting with NICE in Contact, and NICE had a voice recognition technology that within 10 words, now, this is what's interesting. Within 10 words, it would authenticate the customer with 100% accuracy. But I add to that, it never failed with the accuracy of the yes. However, it would say, unfortunately, we don't recognize this customer. Maybe the customer has a cold. Maybe there's a lot of background noise. So it didn't false positive. Wait, is that the right word? Or it didn't false negative. It was always the accurate one. But I want to add to this that let me tell you what looks like a very futuristic type of experience when you do finally get to talk to somebody, a customer service support rep. And when you do, there is a machine in the background that's listening to your call and is telling the rep, hey, this is Dan Burrus on the phone. Daniel has bought 17 times from us before. This is what he buys. And the last time he called, he asked this question. He is the exact same as 4,000 of our other customers. The next question he's going to ask will be fill in the blank. The machine is telling the customer service rep this, okay? So the customer service, talk about anticipatory, can actually anticipate with uncanny predictive perfection what that customer is going to need. Questions the customer doesn't even know to ask. We can predict now what that customer will ask. Now, I said this is the future. I fibbed a little. This is 3, 4, 5 years ago. It's just not quite as widespread, but it's getting there. And when you see the case studies that are out there, I was at an IBM Watson conference about 5 years ago, and they had, this is incredible. It blows my mind. And it's a little scary for some, but I'm the kind of guy that says, stick the chip in my neck and follow me around and give me all the messages you want to give me as long as it makes my life better. But get this. Customer walks into a retail store. Now, this is a retail environment, not digital e-commerce. However, because of facial recognition software, immediately the customer is recognized. It walks up to a sales rep who has never met the customer before, but the sales rep has an earpiece, and the earpiece says, "This is Shep Hyken standing in front of you. This is what Shep likes to buy." And when I say I'm interested in shoes, it starts telling the rep, last time he was here, he bought this brand, this color. You might want to show him the new colors and the new styles. And this is telling the rep exactly what to do to sell me. Now, that may seem a little creepy, but actually, if it saves me time and gives me a better experience, chip my other side.
Well, it isn't creepy at all. By the way, as a side note, I've worked with IBM on that exact system. So,
of course you did.
Yeah,
Why
anyway,
does that not surprise me?
Yeah. But a couple of things that are happening. Two quick things from a technology standpoint. One is we're about to, because I also work with Apple and a few others, we're about to finally get the two different things: virtual reality goggles, which of course seal you off. We're not going to be seeing that with customer service. However, what we will see is the other type, glasses that look like regular glasses. And where is called augmented reality. And it's augmented, meaning I can see you, I can see the surroundings, I can see what I want, but I can overlay information over it. By the way, the rheostat is here. No information, full information, and
Right.
I can blend it the way I want. So it's really, when you're walking up to me, I can see Shep Hyken. I can see what you bought without taking my eyes off you. I can still have that human interface and talk with you, but I can see all that data, but you can't see that I can see it. I can. Also, we have augmented thinking, where we have AI up in the cloud coming down to your earpiece, as you suggested, and giving me cues that way. So we're going to have personalization.
At the highest level.
At the highest level. But remember, I come back to, we are in a human world, not just a technical world. So we still need to do that. Shep, I want to tap into the idea of amazing customer service and experiences. And again, you've written 8 best-selling books on this subject. What are some of the things that are to-dos for the people listening to this? What do they need to do to make sure they have amazing customer experiences and amazing customer service? Let's give them a little to-do list here.
Well, first thing, I want to define amazing, because people might be freaked out over that word, going, oh my gosh, amazing. It sounds so over the top. It sounds daunting. And the reality is it's not at all. I use the word amazing to describe an experience that meets, if not exceeds, expectations, even in the slightest bit. And the way to get there is to recognize every interaction you have. So you start off with a journey map. If you haven't done this, it's real simple. And start with the typical interaction that your customers might have from start to finish. And then there's going to be other interactions. A repeat customer is going to be different than the first-time buyer. Somebody calling in for support or going through your digital channels is going to experience different interaction points with your brand or your company. So when you map all these out, you start to look at these and say, am I giving the customer the best experience they can get at each one of these interaction points? By the way, there's a lot of them. It's not like, I break it down with simplistic examples. Like if you take a flight, you make a reservation, digital or call the reservationist, it's still an interaction. How is that managed? And there could be 10 different opportunities to make it better. If I'm calling you, how is the phone answered? How long do I have to wait? Am I given a choice of a callback or a specific time if there is a long wait? These are all interaction points that you can make better. Anyway, I digress. Amazement is simply a better than average experience, even if it's the tiniest bit better, but it's predictable and it's consistent. In other words, it's anticipatory on the customer's side of it, because what you want your customers to be saying is, every time I talk to them, they're always knowledgeable. They're always friendly. I always get the answers I want. The word always followed by something positive. I'll take this to one other step further. I interviewed Horst Schulze. Do you know who Horst is?
No, but everyone else may not. Go ahead.
No, I know. First president and co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton organization. And he and I have been talking about this a little better than average all the time. That's what makes brands amazing. And I said, can you assign a number to that? And he says, what do you mean? I go, like, how much better than average do you have to be? And he said, 10% better. I go, that's brilliant. Think about this. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is bad. 5 is amazing. So 1 is bad, 2 is fair, 3 is average, okay, 4 is good, 5 is amazing. How much better than a 3 do you have to be? Well, 3.1. Or actually 3.3, excuse me, 10% better, 3.3. That's not a 4, that's a 5. But here's what happens. Again, that word always followed by something positive. When you are at that level, even if it's just the basic interactions, they're always friendly. Even the word friendly is a good word. This is what people do. They give you a 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. Some may give you a 4, but if you want your ratings to be high, don't try to get a 5 every time. Just try to be a little better than average all the time. And it's all the time. That's the hard part.
Well, another thing that everyone out there can do is take a look at the best competitors, not the ones that are not that good. Your very best competitors, and what are they doing for customer experience, customer service, and look for what they're doing wrong so that you can elevate that and do that right. I mean, there are amazing ways of getting advantage. One other thing is, if I meet your expectations, I'm probably doing what the best of my competition is doing. I don't want to meet them. I want to always exceed them.
Right.
I
Even
think,
if it's just
Chef,
smallest
my
amount.
understanding of you talking about being amazing is not meeting customer expectations at all. If you want to be amazing, it's imperative to exceed them. But the insight that you're sharing is really powerful. You don't have to exceed by 1,000%. If you can exceed by 3 or 4%, you're exceeding.
Yep, exactly.
And by the way,
Exceeding is
it's
exceeding.
turning up.
So there, at the end of the book, I'll Be Back, there is a chapter that's called Where the Rubber Meets the Road. By the way, the subtitle of I'll Be Back is How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again. And about 3 sentences into my outline, I realized that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the man that made I'll Be Back famous, which is really cool because I actually use what's called the Terminator font. My publisher found this. It looks like from the movie Terminator back in the 80s, I guess, when it came out or whatever. So, but here's the point of the rubber meets the road. There is a 6-step questioning process. And the first question is, why would someone do business with me versus the competition? Okay. And don't say because we have great service, because that's exactly what they're saying. Hey, this is a weakness of theirs. We do better at that. Okay. We excel in certain areas, just to your point that you made a moment ago. Question number 2 is, why would our customers, or actually they're not our customers, but why would the competition get customers that we're not getting? Okay. So why would people do business with them instead of us? What do they excel in? Don't copy it, but make it your own. It's kind of like I look at the amenity wars at a hotel. Many, many years ago, some really smart hotel owner said, let's give our business customers a newspaper. And when they checked in, they said, hey, when you come down for your coffee tomorrow, free newspaper for you. And the guy across the street said, wow, they're giving away free newspapers. And instead of saying free newspaper for you when you get coffee, they said, we're going to put it in front of your door. Okay. Then the next hotelier said, we're going to give them a choice of the USA Today or the Wall Street Journal or look. You see where it goes? They're trying to outdo each other, which is great. I call that the amenity wars, but that's showing how you take something that somebody else is doing and make it a little bit better. Step number 3. What is step? So number 1, step number 3 is if the competition, that is what I just said, that if the competition is doing something that you're not doing, then figure out how to make it your own. Step number 4 is to look outside of your industry. And this is where you go to not just best in industry, but best in world class. Look at what companies are doing. So what I suggest is get your group together and just, hey, what companies do you love doing business with the most? Any industry, doesn't matter if it's B2B, B2C, makes no difference. And why? And that why is real important. And, you'll get everything from the restaurant down the street, a shoe repair, one little tiny entrepreneur to Amazon, at one. And then maybe if you're in the manufacturing business, you're talking about a vendor who's got the best inside sales rep ever, all kinds of reasons. Once you list out the reasons why you love them, then take a look. This is step 5 at those reasons. Say, what of those reasons can we use in our business that we're not doing? And now we're going beyond our industry. And step number 6 is, now that you've implemented any of these changes that you've discovered, now why would a customer want to do business with us? So that's a 6-step, kind of a conversational process that takes time. You can't do it in one day because you're going to have to implement these ideas. But over time, you'll start to see your capabilities, the experience you create to be again, better than average, consistent.
Well, yeah, once again, we know we're in a period of we've left the period of change. We're truly in a period of transformation. So if you're just changing your customer experience, your customer service, you're probably falling behind. You need to be looking at how can I transform it. Now, tools can help you to do that, and they're far more than augmented reality glasses and business bots and things like that. As a matter of fact, as a reminder for all of us, if you haven't gone to my website and taken a look at downloaded my latest 25 tech trends, do that now. Matter of fact, you can see a barcode there. You can hold your phone up and scan it, and you'll go right to it. Doesn't cost you anything. Download that so you can get a look at that. And Shep, on your report, let's put Shep's report back up, because what I want you to understand is, even though he was surveying consumers, right? This is a really great B2B, not just a B2C report. Shep, talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. So the B2B, it's like, well, these are consumer stats. They don't really apply to us. On the contrary, they absolutely do, for two reasons. Number one, even though the numbers may not be specific, you can get an idea of what customers in general like and dislike. Because you know what? Every one of your customers, if you're in the B2B world, is a consumer of some kind. And you want to know what they're comparing you to in business? You're getting compared. If you're a B2B manufacturer, trust me, they're comparing you to Amazon. And I have a wonderful example of this. I was working with a hospital medical system, and one of the executives said to me, we just ordered this huge, more than $500,000 piece of equipment, and we had to actually build a room for the specs, for the electric, for the heating and cooling system to work the right way, and make sure this machine is running optimally. And it shows up like 2 weeks early. And the guy says, I don't understand it. We had a delivery date. It was set. We were building out the room to meet that delivery date. And here it shows up early. And then he says something that just brings it all home. He goes, I order toilet paper from Amazon, and they email me to tell me it's on its way. Why couldn't this company that sold us more than $500,000 worth of machinery at least give us a heads up that it was on its way? So
I was just speaking to insurance executives about InsurTech. Now, InsurTech, of course, is companies that are using the latest technology to disrupt the traditional insurance companies. By the way, there's finance tech. There's companies doing that everywhere. Well, what I would say is, again, now we're being not reactionary, but what I like to talk about is being anticipatory. And that is, again, things are changing so fast that if you have a wait and see attitude about this, you can wait yourself right out of business.
Yeah, and waiting might be a week or two.
Yeah. So here's the point. You're either going to be more relevant or less relevant. There is no in between. You're either going to be the disruptor or the disrupted. The middle is gone. So what I would like you to do is to self-disrupt yourself by transforming your customer service and customer experience before others do it for you, because your competition is going to do this. Don't assume that they're sitting around. They're looking at you saying, hey, you know what? We can win their customers. Every customer can be stolen, right?
Yeah. And by the way, it goes for employees as well.
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother topic, but the parallel between how employees are treated as an experience and the concepts and how customers are treated, they're in parallel with each other. And today, more than ever, not only can a company steal a customer, but it can also steal their best people to come to work for them, which is one of the reasons sometimes people like doing business with that company. It's not the company, it's the person in the company. The most general example of this is if you get your hair cut by somebody at this particular hair salon, I don't, but I see you still have hair. Okay. But if you go to get your hair cut and that person goes to another salon and you've been using that person for 2 years, 5 years, whatever, you think you're going to stay at the salon that you've been at that long? No, you are loyal to the person, not to the company. And it's important to recognize that some of these big companies, if they're interacting with customers in B2B, you don't want to make the mistake, because I had a client, huge machinery company, robotic machinery, and they said, when we make a mistake and we lose a customer, it's a generational mistake, because they buy the equipment It's 10 to 15 years before they'll buy another piece of equipment, and they get the maintenance on that software and everything else that goes to it over the next 10 to 15 years. That's a huge mistake we made. And if the reason we lost was because of the experience, oh my gosh, we could have controlled that.
Well, one other little point I would like to make regarding bigger companies and B2B space, and that is a lot of your customers are actually internal. So in other words, it isn't somebody from the outside. It isn't somebody buying something. I've got a bunch of customers that actually I'm serving because of what I do. For example, if I'm in the IT department of a company, my customers, a lot of my direct customers are actually employees of the company because I'm the IT guy, or if I'm HR, or if I'm some other thing. So we have customers, and then there's the customer's customer. And if you can help a customer with their customer, you're going to be doing really well. So customer service and customer experience has layers to it. There's an internal element, there's an external element. And of course, you never want to teach customers to distrust you because you're going to have a tough time getting that trust back. So that's where being anticipatory comes in. If I'm implementing something new process, new service, new product, whatever it might be, I want to anticipate. I want to ask myself, if I implement this or put it out there in this way, what will happen to trust? And if in your mind trust will go down, don't do it in that way. Notice I didn't say don't do it, period. Change how you do it, how you implement it so that trust stays where it is. And if you can get trust to go up, you'll probably end up with a great experience and more customers.
Right. 2 points I want to make is that our survey found that 83% of customers trust a company or brand more if they provide an excellent customer service experience. And that's up 4% from last year. But something you said, sometimes we're selling to a company and really we're selling to the customer's customer, but we're going through that company. Maybe we sell a piece of a component that goes into a machine. Here's what I think is really important. We talk about this in my book, The Amazement Revolution, Chapter 2, partnership. Partnership is like a vendor relationship on steroids. When you recognize why a company is buying what they're buying and how you're supporting their end effort, whether it be selling to a consumer, to another B2B company, and you start to partner with them on how they can be more successful in their customer, for their customer, I think you've got this incredible experience where price becomes far less relevant. By the way, when you design the right experience, price becomes less relevant. But when you become their partner, nobody's going to, it takes a lot to pull a partnership apart rather than just a vendor relationship. We're looking at, we're looking at the service, we're looking at the price. But if you can be that partner, that solidifies a lot more.
Well, one of the things that I teach in my anticipatory leader learning system is opposites work better. So instead of trying to figure out how can you meet, or better yet, exceed customer experiences and customer service, the opposite is, why should I have to try to figure it out? Why don't I ask them? And maybe it's ask them, how can I become completely indispensable to you?
Yep.
And then sit back and listen. And you know what? They'll spill their guts. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do. That's part of personalization. So instead of us trying to figure out how are we going to do something with millennials or baby boomers or all the different ways that we can slice and dice it, maybe we should just simply ask them, because technology is increasingly giving us the ability to personalize and customize in ways we could have never done before.
Yeah, and the personalization thing is huge. But the confidence we have in the vendor that we've chosen is even more important. The example that I use in that partnership chapter, and it's a nice big, there were 7 principles, hence 7 chapters, although there was an 8th one. We had one company that we used as a case study that did all 7, at once. You don't have to do all 7. But anyway, this particular company was called, Michael Porter's the CEO, or he sold the company. Doesn't matter. He had a cloud solution for his vendor was a company that sold tickets to concerts and sporting events and that type of thing. They released the concert tickets at like 3:00 or 4:00 in the afternoon on a Friday, and everybody wanted it. It flooded it. And at about 5 or 5:30, it looked like the servers were going to shut down and crash the system. And Michael had a choice at this point. He was trying to reach the executives who had all gone home for the weekend, the executives of his client, okay? And he said, I need to add more server power. That's going to cost money. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to do it. And even if the customer says, we didn't want you to do it and won't pay, at least we'll have kept their servers from going down. And we'll also know what kind of a relationship we really have with them. And guess what happened? He spent the extra money. He took the chance. On Monday morning, he informed his customer what he had done. And the customer said, that's why we love you. We are happy to pay the money. You have our back. That's not a vendor. That's a partner. That's giving the best possible experience they could imagine.
Well, we're getting close to our interview time, and again, you are indeed a master. What I want to do is wrap this up with a couple of key actions that we're suggesting people take. And from my end, I want you again to not just be reactionary, no matter how agile you are. Remember, agility is reacting as quickly as you can to a disruption after it disrupts, reacting as quickly as you can to a problem after it occurs. That's all good, but I would like you to become far more anticipatory, predicting problems before they happen and pre-solving them, which we've been talking about. Being able to look at what are the disruptions coming our way and use that, since we know it's going to happen, to our advantage. And Shep, on elevating our customer service and customer experience to an amazing level, what are a few last takeaways, and then we'll end this.
Sure. Well, number one, to your point, I think we need to understand why a customer chooses us over someone else. We talked about it at the very beginning, but I want to take that to the next level. Once we understand that, we need to ingrain in everybody's brain, all the employees, what their role is for that. So I want every employee, no matter whether they're on the front line or behind the scenes, to understand what their role is in creating the experience. You mentioned anticipatory and predictive. Customers are starting to expect that companies will reach out to them when there's a problem before they discover there's a problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. If you have, the only way we typically know the internet is down is when we need to use the internet and find out it's down. However, I was working with a major cable provider, and they said, we try to figure out every possible way to communicate with a customer: phone, texting, email, Facebook, social media channels, whatever. We get all those, and we know that there's a problem in their area. We blast every one of their channels of communication, because we know they could probably get to something and find out about it, and we can let them know ahead of time there's a problem, what we're doing about it, and when we get them back online. That's anticipatory, that's predictive, and I love that. At least from, if I can anticipate the company I do business with has my back, man, it's a two-way anticipatory street. Final comment I want to make is that as the title, I'll Be Back, it's about getting customers to come back. A lot of times that people think the important measurements are customer satisfaction. Very important. Net promoter score, finding out if we did a good enough job that a customer would recommend us. Any kind of satisfaction score, very important, but it's a history lesson. It's not what's happening tomorrow. What we want to know is the behavior of the customer. Are they coming back? That's what we need to understand, and that's what we need to measure. They can give us the highest ratings in the world, but if they don't come back, it doesn't mean anything.
All right. So I would highly recommend that all of you, first of all, buy a copy of I'll Be Back. Go get it right away. Secondly, this report, I've read through the report that Shep has created. It's an amazing study. He's not even charging you for it. I think he should, frankly, but he's not.
How much?
I want you to get that right now. So get that, download it, go through it. And then lastly, what I want you to do is, again, don't forget to download the latest list of those 25 tech trends. You can get those and look with an opportunity antenna up. And lastly, let's remember, it is not a technical world we live in. We live in a human world. It's all about elevating experiences. And if you aren't elevating customer service, I can guarantee you right now, you are going to be in trouble. Thank you so much, Shep. And we'll talk again soon. And remember, if you are not being the disruptor, creating the transformations that need to happen, someone else will. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me here. And I hope that I get to come back.
Well, we'll do that. All right, good. You got it. Take care.
Thanks, Dan.